Have you ever noticed, the more you chase something, the further it slips away? You work harder, you try every method, you even lose sleep. Yet the thing you want most stays just out of reach. What if the problem isn't that you're not doing enough, but that you're doing too much? What if the universe is already bringing you what you deserve, but your restless energy is pushing it away? In Buddhism, there is a quiet truth. Life delivers its greatest blessings, not to the ones who fight the hardest, but to the ones who learn to be still. Stillness is not weakness. It is the language of the universe. It's the difference between clinging to what you fear losing and opening your hands to receive what is truly yours. In this video, we'll explore 11 profound lessons from the power of detachment to the beauty of divine timing, each one showing you how to stop forcing life and start flowing with it. And if you stay until the end, you'll hear a rare bonus teaching one that could shift the way you move through the world forever. So take a deep breath, let go of the rush, and let's begin. Lesson 1. Stillness creates space for life to enter. In a world that glorifies constant motion, stillness can feel unnatural. We wake up checking notifications, rush through the day juggling tasks, and fall asleep with our minds still running marathons. We've been taught that movement equals progress, but here's the truth. Sometimes the very thing you're chasing has been standing at your door all along, but you're making too much noise to hear the knock. Buddhist wisdom teaches that the answers, the opportunities, even the peace we're searching for often arrive quietly. Imagine trying to spot your reflection in a pond while someone is throwing stones into the water. The ripples distort everything, and no matter how hard you look, the image never becomes clear. That's what inner noise does it, the guidance life is already offering. But the moment the water stills, the reflection appears naturally. You don't force it, you simply allow it. Life works the same way. Peace, like a feather landing on a still pond, can only rest where there is quiet. If your mind is filled with urgency, imagined deadlines, and constant what-if scenarios, there's no space left to notice what's already within reach. You might be so focused on chasing the next thing that you miss the blessing sitting right beside you. The universe is not ignoring you, it's simply waiting for you to slow down enough to receive. Think of it like holding a cup that's already overflowing. No matter how much more is poured, nothing new can stay, it spills over and is lost. The same goes for your inner world. If you're too full of worry, overthinking, or the need to control every outcome, there's no room for what you've been asking for to truly land. And sometimes, what we think is bad timing is really just life waiting for us to clear space inside ourselves. Here's something to reflect on. What am I too full of to welcome what I've been asking for? Sit with that question. It might be fear. It might be the pressure to match someone else's pace. It might even be the idea that you must earn everything through struggle. Whatever it is, notice it. Awareness is the first step to letting it go. Stillness is not about doing nothing. It's about creating space for the right things to enter. It's about trusting that you don't have to micromanage the universe for it to work in your favor. When you quiet the noise within, you don't lose momentum, you gain clarity, and clarity always knows the fastest path forward. So, for just a moment, breathe. Let go of the urgency. Release the mental clutter. Allow your inner waters to become still, because in that stillness, you might just realize that the life you've been chasing is already closer than you ever imagined, waiting quietly for you to finally notice. Lesson 2. Desperation pushes blessings away. We've all felt it, that tightening in the chest when we want something so badly, we're afraid to lose it before we even have it. Maybe it's a relationship, a job, an opportunity, or a dream. At first, The desire feels exciting, full of possibility. But if we're not careful, that longing can quietly transform into fear. And fear changes everything. When fear takes over, we grip too tightly. We start to control, to force, to overthink every detail. But here's the paradox. The tighter you hold on, the more what you want seems to slip away. It's like trying to hold water in clenched fists. You think you're keeping it safe, but in reality, you're pushing it out. The universe, much like water, flows where there is openness, not where there is tension. Buddhist wisdom teaches that the energy we carry speaks louder than our words. Desperation might look like deep desire from the outside, but at its core, it's a signal of lack, a silent message to the universe that says, I don't believe I can have this unless I hold on for dear life. And the universe doesn't respond to panic. It responds to presence, to trust, to the calm confidence that what is truly yours can never be taken from you. Think of it this way. When your hands are clenched, nothing can enter them. But when your palms are open, you're in a position to receive. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means trusting that if something is meant for you, it will find you. And if it leaves, it was never to keep. This isn't just positive thinking. It's alignment with the natural law that what belongs to you will always return in the right way, at the right time. I once heard a monk say, "You cannot pull a flower into bloom by tugging on its petals. You only damage it." The same goes for the things we love and desire. You can nurture them, care for them, create the right environment, but the moment you try to force them, you interrupt their natural unfolding. That's what desperation does. It takes something pure and strains it under the weight of fear. So ask yourself, where in your life are you gripping too tightly? What would happen if just for today you loosened your hold? Not because you don't care, but because you trust, because you know that what's truly meant for you already has your name on it. Nothing can erase it. When you replace desperation with faith, your energy shifts, you become lighter, and in that lightness, you make space for what's meant to arrive. The truth is, blessings don't come to clenched fists. They come to open hands and an open heart. Trust that, and watch how much more easily life begins to give. Lesson 3. Silence often means rearrangement. There's a strange moment in life when everything seems to go quiet. The calls slow down. Opportunities pause. Even the excitement you once felt begins to fade into stillness. And if you're like most people, your first thought is, something must be wrong. But what if nothing is wrong at all? What if this quiet is not an ending, but the most important part of the process? Buddhist wisdom reminds us that silence is not the absence of movement. It's often the sign that the universe is rearranging things in ways we cannot yet see. It's like the work happening behind the curtain before the grand performance. The lights are still dim. The stage looks empty. But backstage, every piece is being set in place so the show can unfold perfectly. Think of a plant. Before it blooms, before even a single leaf appears above ground, the roots are growing deep in the soil. You can't see them, but they are spreading, anchoring and strengthening the plant for the moment it breaks through. If you judged the plant's progress only by what you could see, you might think nothing was happening at all. But in truth, everything was happening just out of sight. Life works the same way. When things go quiet, it might mean people are moving into the right positions, opportunities are aligning in the background, and timing is being perfected. The problem is, we often mistake this quiet for being stuck. We panic, we push, we try to force action because we're uncomfortable with stillness, but forcing too soon can pull the roots before they've had time to take hold. The real question to ask yourself in these moments is this: can I feel at peace without visible progress? Can I trust that the silence is not empty, but full of unseen movement? Because here's the truth. The universe has a rhythm that doesn't match our timelines. It works with precision, not pressure. And sometimes the delay is not about holding you back, but about making sure that when your opportunity arrives, you're fully ready to step into it. So the next time life feels quiet, resist the urge to fill it with noise. Sit with it, breathe into it, let it be. Because this stillness might just be the final preparation before your next season begins. And when it does, you'll see that the roots were growing all along, deep, strong, and exactly where they needed to be. Lesson 4. Faith grows in the unseen. Faith is easy when the path is lit, when the results are clear, when the signs are obvious, when life is moving in the exact direction we hoped. But what about the moments when everything is dark, when you can't see even one step ahead? That's when real faith is tested, and that's when it has the power to grow the most. In Buddhist wisdom, not seeing doesn't mean nothing is happening. A seed doesn't begin its life in the sunlight. It starts underground, in the quiet, hidden from view. It breaks open in the dark, and only then does it rise toward the light. Just because you can't see change doesn't mean change isn't happening. The trouble is, the mind hates the unseen. It whispers, "What if nothing is moving? What if you've been forgotten?" And that whisper can quickly turn into fear, restlessness, and doubt. But the universe doesn't measure progress by how much you can see. It moves according to deeper laws, many of which unfold in silence. The sun doesn't rise because we stare at the horizon. It rises because it was always going to. So here's the real challenge. Can you trust the process even when it's invisible? Can you believe that something is unfolding for you, even when there's no proof in front of you? The ego demands evidence. The soul understands timing. Faith is choosing to lean into that timing, even when every part of you wants to rush ahead. I once heard the story of a monk who planted a seed and returned to it every morning. Day after day, there was no sign of life. A traveler passing by asked, "Why do you keep coming back?" "Nothing is growing." The monk smiled and said, "It is growing, just not where you can see it yet." Weeks later, a small green sprout broke through the earth. It had been alive all along. That's how life works. Some blessings need time beneath the surface before they can meet you. Some chapters are written long before you read them, and some changes are already in motion, not because you can see them, but because you've already aligned with them inside. So when the path is unclear, keep walking. When the night feels long, trust the dawn. The unseen is not empty. It's the workshop of the universe, quietly building what you've been asking for. Let your faith live there, not in what you can measure, but in what you know deep down is already becoming. Lesson 5. Detachment unlocks true magnetism. We grow up being told that if we want something, we should hold on to it, tightly protect it, guard it, never let it slip away. But the more life you live, the more you see the truth. Sometimes the harder you grip, the faster things fade. And in Buddhist wisdom, this isn't just a poetic idea. It's a law of the heart. Detachment doesn't mean you stop caring. It doesn't mean you walk away from your dreams or the people you love. It means you choose presence over possession, trust over tension. When you release the need for something to unfold in exactly the way you imagined, you free it, and you free yourself. And strangely, this is when the things meant for you have the best chance to stay. I once heard the story of a monk who found a beautiful jade cup floating in a stream. He took it home, admired its beauty, and placed it beside his bed. But soon, every sound in the night made him worry it would break. Every gust of wind, every small movement filled him with fear of losing it. The cup had stopped being a joy and had become a burden. One morning the monk returned it to the stream, watching it float away. "It is mine," he said softly, "only when I no longer need to keep it." That is detachment, and it's the source of true magnetism. Because when you stop grasping, you stop sending out energy that says, "I'm afraid to lose this." Instead, you radiate something far more powerful. "I am whole, with or without it," and that energy is irresistible. It draws in what matches it, naturally and effortlessly, like a flame quietly attracting every moth in the night. Think about it. When you're desperate for something, you create pressure around it. You overthink, you second-guess, you push too hard. But when you let go, you give it space to breathe. You create a calm, open field where blessings feel safe to land. What's meant for you begins to notice you, not because you chased it, but because your peace has become a home it wants to return to. Try this. Close your eyes and picture all the things you've been holding on to too tightly, the goals, the relationships, the outcomes. Now imagine placing them in your open palm. Feel the relief of loosening your grip. Watch them float away like lanterns into a night sky. You haven't lost them, you've simply set them free to return in their best form. Detachment is not weakness. It's the quiet confidence that you are enough, no matter what comes or goes. And when you live from that place, life has a way of surprising you, not with everything you thought you wanted, but with everything your soul was truly calling for. Lesson 6. Surrender as strength. We're taught from a young age that strength means never stopping. Push harder, try longer. Don't quit until you get what you want. And yes, persistence has its place, but there comes a moment in every journey when the path no longer responds to force. You push, but nothing moves. You plan, but doors stay closed. And instead of making progress, you feel yourself sinking deeper into frustration. In Buddhist wisdom, this is the moment to stop fighting, not because you've been defeated, but because you're ready to flow with a rhythm greater than your own. Surrender isn't waving a white flag. It's choosing to trust that the knows where it's going even when you don't. It's strength in its most graceful form. Imagine a river winding its way around a mountain. The water doesn't crash into the rock demanding it move. It curves gently, patiently, wearing a path with persistence but without resistance. And over time, the water reaches the ocean long before the rock even notices. That's the power of surrender. It gets you where you're meant to be without exhausting you in the process. I once heard a teacher say, "You know it's time to let go when trying has turned into struggling, and struggling has turned into suffering." That's the line we often cross without realizing it. We think we're being strong by holding on, but real strength is knowing when to release. Because the truth is, some things are not meant to be pushed open. They're meant to open when the timing is right. Surrender is not passivity. It's the deepest kind of participation with life. It's saying, "I will do my part, but I will also trust the parts that are not mine to control." When you let go, you stop shouting at the river to change direction, and you start listening to where it's already flowing. That's when you notice the gentle nudges, the subtle signs that were drowned out by your noise before. Think for a moment. Where in your life are you still swimming upstream? What situation, dream, or relationship are you holding so tightly that it's become a struggle instead of a joy? What would happen if you stopped trying to control every turn and simply let it be? Letting go can feel terrifying. But here's the secret. You're not falling into emptiness. You're being carried. Just like a leaf floating on the surface of a stream, you may not know where it's leading, but you can trust that the flow will take you exactly where you need to go. So today, give yourself permission to stop fighting the currents that exhaust you. Lay down the burden of needing to know every outcome. Let the tide carry you for a while. because sometimes the very thing you're chasing is already on its way. But it can only meet you when you stop resisting the path it's taking to get there. Surrender is not weakness, it is wisdom, and when you learn to bow to life's flow instead of forcing it, you'll see that the river has been carrying you toward everything you deserve all along. Lesson 7. Craving clouds clarity. There's a subtle difference between desire and craving. Desire can be a spark. It inspires, motivates, and gives us direction. But craving is what happens when that spark grows into a wildfire we can no longer control. It burns through our peace, clouds our judgment, and leaves us chasing shadows. Buddhist wisdom teaches that craving doesn't bring us closer to what we seek, it pushes it further away. Why? Because craving blinds us. It fills our vision so completely that we can't see the path clearly. It's like trying to navigate a trail in the fog. You're moving, but every step feels uncertain. The more you try to force your way forward, the denser the fog becomes. I once heard a monk illustrate this with a simple image. He poured tea into a cup until it overflowed, spilling onto the table. "This is your mind when it's full of craving," he said. "There is no space for peace to enter, because it is already overflowing with need." That's the trouble with craving. It doesn't just take up space in your mind, it distorts everything you see. You stop noticing the opportunities already within reach, because you're obsessed with the one thing you don't yet have. The truth is, craving doesn't come from abundance. It comes from the fear of not having enough. And fear is noisy. It drowns out intuition. It silences patience. And it makes us grab at anything that looks like we want, even if it's not truly right for us. When you're caught in craving, you're not choosing from wisdom, you're reacting from urgency. So how do you clear the fog? First, pause. Take a breath deep enough to feel in your chest. Then ask yourself, is what I'm wanting right now helping me see more clearly, or is it making everything blur? You might realize that the you're chasing so hard isn't even the thing that would bring you peace. It's just the thing you've convinced yourself will fill the gap. When you release craving, something powerful happens. Clarity returns. You see the path in front of you with fresh eyes. You notice the blessings you'd overlooked. And sometimes you discover that what you truly needed was already here, just hidden behind the fog of wanting. This doesn't mean you stop dreaming or stop working toward your goals. It means you release the grip of urgency. You replace the pressure to have it now with the trust that it will come when the time is right. Peace is not found when you finally collect everything you want. It's found when you no longer need everything to go your way in order to feel whole. Let the craving fall away, like mist dissolving in the morning sun. Let the path reveal itself again. You may be surprised to find that the clarity you've been searching for wasn't out there at all. It was waiting for you in the stillness all along. Lesson 8. Calmness is the universe's language. If you've ever tried to hear someone whisper in a crowded room, you know how impossible it feels. The noise drowns out the message. And yet, this is exactly how many of us live, surrounded by the noise of our own thoughts, unable to hear the quiet guidance that's been there all along. Buddhist wisdom teaches that the universe does not speak in shouts. It speaks in whispers. It doesn't push or force its way in. It waits for calm. Calmness isn't about doing nothing. It's about creating a state within yourself where truth can be heard clearly. Just like a lake only reflects the sky when it is still, your mind can only reflect the right path when it's at peace. There's a story of a man who sat at the edge of a forest every day, calling out to the wind for direction. He would beg for signs, demand answers, and shout his questions into the air. One day, an old monk joined him and sat silently. Minutes passed. The wind shifted, leaves rustled. A single feather drifted down in front of them. The man asked, Why does the universe answer you and not me?" The monk smiled and said, "Because I listen, not to reply, but to receive." When we are desperate for answers, we tend to make more noise. We overthink. We rehearse conversations that haven't happened. We imagine all the worst outcomes. But the universe doesn't respond to panic or chaos. It responds to the stillness of trust. Calmness sends a different message. I am ready to hear. I am ready to receive. Ask yourself, what noise am I carrying right now? Is it worry about the future? Anger from the past? The need to have everything figured out before I can feel at peace? Whatever it is, notice how it fills the space where guidance could be. The truth is, you don't have to chase answers. You have to make room for them. You don't have to scream to be heard. You only have to whisper and wait. Calmness is not weakness. It's power in its quietest form. It's the energy that makes blessings feel safe to approach. So slow your breathing. Release the tension in your shoulders. Let your mind settle like water after the storm. In that stillness, you'll start to notice the signs you thought weren't there, the chance encounters, the sudden clarity, the gentle nudges forward. They've always been there. You just needed the quiet to hear them. Lesson 9. Energy arrives before results. Long before your dreams take shape in the world, something else arrives first: your energy. It's the quiet signal you send out every day, whether you're aware of it or not. And in Buddhist wisdom, that signal speaks far louder than your words or your plans. You don't attract what you say you want. You attract what you are. Think about a tuning fork. It doesn't vibrate just because you tell it to. It vibrates when it meets a matching note. Life works the same way. If you're holding on to chaos, doubt, or fear, you'll draw in people and situations that match that frequency. If you carry peace, trust, and grounded confidence, you create the conditions for those same qualities to find you. A student once asked a monk, "Why am I doing all the right things, yet nothing is changing?" The monk replied, "Because you are planting seeds with trembling hands. Your actions are correct, but your energy is uncertain." It's a simple truth: the universe doesn't just respond to your effort, it reflects your essence. Most people get it backwards. They wait for life to give them peace before they allow themselves to feel peaceful. They wait for success before they feel worthy, for love before they feel whole. But alignment works in reverse. You feel it first, and then life matches it. So here's the question to sit with. What is my energy inviting into my life right now? Do I radiate trust or tension? Am I embodying the peace I say I want? Or am I waiting for external changes before I let myself feel it? Try this simple shift. Each morning, before the noise of the day begins, take a few breaths and step into the version of yourself who already has the peace, love, or success you're seeking. Feel what it's like to live in that space. Carry that feeling with you, not as pretending, but as practicing alignment. Because when you hold that frequency consistently, something changes, not in the distant future, but now. You start to notice opportunities that match your energy. You start making choices that align with your vision, and life responds, not because you begged it to, but because you've become a match for what you seek. Remember, results are the echo, energy is the voice. Send out the signal of the life you want, and watch as it quietly begins making its way to you. Step by step, moment by moment, until one day you realize you're living what you once only dreamed. Lesson 10. Timing is sacred. We live in a world obsessed with speed. Fast results, instant answers, overnight success. We've been conditioned to believe that if something takes too long, it must mean we're falling behind. But life, in its quiet wisdom, does not follow our deadlines. And in Buddhist teaching, timing is not just a detail, it is sacred. Not everything blooms in spring. Some flowers open in the heat of summer, others wait for the gentle cool of autumn. They don't force themselves open before they're ready, and they're never late. They bloom in the exact moment nature intended. Your journey is no different. The trouble is, when we can't see progress, we start to panic. We look around and notice others moving ahead. We think, why not me? Am I missing my chance? But a seed buried in the soil doesn't panic just because the plant next to it has already sprouted. It knows that growth is happening and the dark roots are forming. Strength is building so that when it finally breaks the surface, it can stand tall and steady. I once heard a teacher tell a story about a young monk who asked, "Why is my progress so slow? I meditate, I practice, I serve, yet nothing changes." The master took him outside into the night and pointed at the sky. "Where are the stars?" he asked. The monk frowned. "I can't see them." The master smiled. "Because it's not dark enough yet." And that was the lesson. Some things can only be seen. Some wisdom can only be received when the moment is perfectly aligned. This is why patience isn't just waiting, it's trusting. Trusting that every delay is part of your preparation. Trusting that the universe is arranging not just the what, but also the when. Because the wrong timing can turn even the right thing into a burden, while the right timing makes it effortless. So instead of treating time like an enemy, learn to see it as an ally. When life slows down, ask yourself, what is this moment preparing me for? What skills, insights, or inner strength am I meant to gather before the next chapter begins? The stars will appear when the sky is ready. The doors will open when the path is clear. And when that moment comes, you'll realize the wait wasn't a pause. It was a perfect, sacred rhythm carrying you exactly where you were meant to go. Lesson 11. What you deserve isn't given, it's recognized. We often think we have to earn everything: love, respect, success, even our own worth. We work harder, achieve more, and push ourselves to prove that we're deserving. But in Buddhist wisdom, what you truly deserve is not something life hands you like a prize. It's something that's recognized the moment you align with who you really are. Think of a lighthouse. It doesn't run up and down the shore, begging ships to notice it. It doesn't flash brighter in desperation or try to prove its value. It simply stands tall, steady, and lit. And because it shines without apology or insecurity, the ships find it naturally. That's how what's meant for you works. It's drawn to your light, not your effort to chase it down. The problem is, most of us have been so busy trying to be chosen that we forget to simply be. We wear masks to match the expectations of others. We chase goals that impress others but leave us feeling empty inside. And when what we desire doesn't come, we believe it must be because we're not enough yet. But the truth is, the universe will never send the right blessings to the wrong version of you. I once heard a monk ask a seeker, "In all your striving, have you ever paused just to be yourself?" The seeker looked puzzled and asked, "To be what?" The monk smiled softly. "To be you. Not the you who performs, not the you who hides, but the you who is whole, even without anyone's applause." That's the space where true recognition begins. When you stand in your truth, without bending to win approval, life starts to change. You're no longer chasing, you're shining. You send out a clear message. This is who I am, and I am ready to receive what belongs with me. And the right people, opportunities, and moments begin to come, not because you forced them, but because you became the version of yourself they were meant to find. So ask yourself, am I trying to prove my worth, or am I living from it? Am I dimming my light to fit someone else's expectations, or am I letting it shine at full strength? Because when you stop trying to earn what's already yours, you stop blocking it. Stand like a lighthouse, steady, certain, and glowing. Let what's meant for you recognize you and return to you. Not to the version of you that's chasing, but to the one who remembers, I am already enough. bonus lesson. The universe answers to inner stillness, not outer struggle. In a world that praises hustle, we're taught that movement means progress. If you're not always doing, pushing and chasing, you must be falling behind. But in Buddhist wisdom, many of life's deepest changes don't happen through force. They happen through stillness. Stillness isn't the absence of action, it's the presence of alignment. You could take 100 rushed steps in the wrong direction and end up further away from where you need to be. Or you could take one calm, intentional step from a place of clarity, and that will bring you closer to your destination than all the rushing in the world. I once heard a teacher compare it to a cup of tea. If the cup is already full, filled with worry, fear and endless planning, there's no space for anything new. The tea will just spill over. But when you empty the cup, when you quiet the noise inside, you make room for the universe to pour in exactly what you need. Picture a garden at dawn. The air is still, the leaves unmoving. In that quiet, the dew forms and the light gently touches the earth. Growth doesn't happen because something forced it. It happens because the conditions welcomed it. Your life works the same way. When you are calm, grounded and open, what is meant for you begins to grow naturally. Ask yourself, are my actions coming from trust or from fear? Am I moving because I'm inspired or because I'm afraid to be still? Often we mistake constant activity for progress, when in truth we're just running in circles, too busy to see the doors that are already open. The truth is, what's meant for you never needs to be forced into existence. It needs to be welcomed. And welcoming isn't passive, it's powerful. It's choosing to stand in quiet confidence, knowing the universe is aware of your name, your needs, and your timing. So, loosen your grip. Stop trying to force doors open and get ready to walk through the ones that will open for you. Shift your focus from proving to becoming. Because when you're still on the inside, the signal you send out is clear, and the universe always responds. You've just walked through powerful lessons that remind us life isn't about forcing, chasing, or proving. It's about creating space within yourself for the right things to arrive. From stillness to trust, to letting go, to recognizing your own worth. Each is an invitation to stop living in fear of what you might lose and start living in alignment with what you're meant to receive. Buddhist wisdom reminds us that peace isn't something you find only when life finally works out. Peace is what you choose now, in this moment, before the answers arrive, before the timing feels perfect, before you can see the whole path. Because when you choose peace first, everything else begins to shift around it. So ask yourself one last time, what am I too full of to welcome what I've been asking for? Then, little by little, make space, quiet the noise, loosen your grip, trust the timing, and stand in the knowing that what's meant for you can never miss you. It's already on its way. If this video spoke to you, take a moment to breathe and let the message settle in. And when you're ready, I invite you to keep walking this path with me. Click the next video on your screen. It's filled with more timeless Buddhist wisdom to help you find clarity, peace, and strength in everyday life. The more you surround yourself with these teachings, the more naturally they become part of who you are. And when that happens, you won't need to chase the life you want. You'll simply become the person it's been seeking all along.